A conservative activist is speaking on campus. Find out the controversy surrounding the event. Plus, a Norman school teacher is arrested. Why the sheriff's office says there's no threat to students.
Plus, with the severe weather season in full swing, the risk for storms continues. This is OU Nightly.
You are looking live outside Dale Hall, where in about an hour and a half, Riley Gaines, a conservative political activist, will be speaking. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Sophia Cabrera.
And I'm Emma McAndrews. This speaker event has been largely promoted throughout campus for the last few weeks.
OU Nightly reporter Amy Acevedo has the details on the event and the controversies surrounding it.
From swimming for the University of Kentucky to speaking at colleges across the country, Riley Gaines has made a name for herself by, in her own words, advocating for women. But some that oppose her say that her views are rooted in transphobia. Gaines will be speaking for the OU chapter of Turning Point USA. Her appearance on campus was met with backlash, with the posers confronting Turning Point OU.
Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop! Can you? Hey! Don't kill me! Don't kill me! Hey! What the hell? What the hell? Get back in with my sign!
And as promotional signs for the event were vandalized last week, writing Nazi grift on the back of a banner on the South Oval, others were taken down completely and found in a nearby dumpster. The sign was kept up and covered, but was eventually taken down over the weekend.
We as Turning Point understand it's not for everybody. We're all going to disagree on some things, but the important thing is that we all get to talk about our beliefs openly without having to feel shut out or disregarded.
Now right here behind me in Dale Hall is where Riley will be speaking tonight. Counter-protesters are expected outside as well, but Turning Point OU is making sure to take all necessary safety precautions.
Hiring our own security, also monitoring the doors, monitoring what's going on in the auditorium. We're taking every precaution to ensure the safety of not only just Riley Gaines, but also the students coming to just see and hear about what her message is as well.
Doors open at 6 p.m. with Gaines speaking at 6:30 for about a half an hour, followed by a Q&A session. Reporting on campus, Amy Acevedo, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Amy. OU Nightly will have continued coverage of the event tonight on our social media pages and during tomorrow's newscast.
Next, a Norman public school teacher was arrested and charged today for enabling child sexual abuse that the Cleveland County District Attorney's Office declined to file in 2017. OU Nightly's reporter Spencer Tabb is in the newsroom with more on the investigation that the Sheriff's Office decided to reopen. Spencer?
The Cleveland County Sheriff's Office says a Norman public schools teacher, Valerie Hartless, is accused of enabling child sexual abuse. Documents obtained by KFOR say Hartless's ex-husband had inappropriately touched a teenager several occasions between 2015 and 2016, adding that Hartless did not do anything to stop the abuse. Norman Public Schools tells the OU Nightly the charges are not related to her employment at MPS and she has been placed on administrative leave. The school district will be conducting an internal investigation. Hartless's ex-husband also has a warrant out for his arrest. Emma, Sophia.
Thanks, Spencer. Significant damages have been reported in Owasso following a tornado that passed through earlier this morning. Taking a look at the video, we can see trees down and pieces of debris strung across the sidewalks and roads. Roofs are damaged as well as partially gone. This reported near 86th Street. Services are being offered to aid in the cleanup of those affected. The city of Owasso is also meeting right now as we speak to consider declaring a state of emergency for the city following the storms.
And continuing with the weather talk here in Norman, we might not have seen those overnight storms, but some of us definitely heard them.
I sure did. Let's check in with OU Nightly's meteorologist Alexa Duringa, to see just how much rain we got overnight. Alexa.
Yeah, ladies, earlier this morning, you might have been woken up to a rumble or thunder of two. Luckily, those of us here in Norman, we weren't actually in that severe thunderstorm warning. There was one to our north and one to our south, but that didn't stop us from getting any rain here. Norman, we saw about 1/10 of an inch, but luckily things have cleared up by then. So currently we're sitting in temperatures in the lower 70s, a beautiful 72 degrees here in Norman. But don't let this absolutely beautiful weather fool you, because again, we're going to be tracking rounds 1, 2, and 3 of storms. Going to be talking about the timeline for when those storms are going to impact us, and our rain chances continue.
Thanks, Alexa. Make America wealthy again. That is the goal of President Trump's tariffs going into effect today. Critics fear the measures could hurt Americans' wallets. OU Nightly's Olivia Hayes has more on that and the rest of today's national and international headlines from the News Center. Olivia.
Sophia, Emma, President Trump is calling today Liberation Day and a step closer to economic independence. Measures include a 25% tariff on all foreign-made cars starting at midnight. The president is also adding a return tariff on several U.S. trading partners and a 10% tariff on all countries. Several of those countries say they have plans to push back, and Trump's administration expects these tariffs to bring in around $6 trillion of revenue over a decade. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he plans to escalate military presence in Gaza. Netanyahu says Israel will continue to put pressure on the Strip until the release of all remaining Israeli hostages. Reports say there are 59 Israeli hostages being held in Gaza, 24 believed to be alive, and 35 believed to be dead. Israel broke its fragile ceasefire with Gaza on March 18th. The U.S. Health and Human Services begins job cuts across multiple agencies. Some agencies, including the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Food and Drug Administration. These layoffs are in addition to the thousands of employees who willingly left or are currently on administrative leave. What remains of the workforce will be merged into a new organization called the Administration for a Healthy America. Now, I reached out to the Oklahoma State Department of Health, and they tell me they have not been impacted by these job cuts as of right now. Ladies.
Thanks, Olivia. Coming up, nearly 5 million people are under tornado watches across multiple states. We'll take a look at which states are at risk for strong tornadoes next.
And relief efforts in Myanmar have been delayed. Find out what's preventing the relief from arriving when we come back.
While some Oklahomans start recovery efforts from Tuesday night's severe weather, at least 6 other states are bracing for a possible tornado outbreak. OU Nightly's Cole Webster has the details in today's Earth Report.
Sophia, the severe weather is threatening states in the central part of the U.S. from North Texas up to the Great Lakes. Those storms are expected to bring heavy flooding, large hail, and damaging winds with a chance of producing tornadoes in parts of Arkansas, Missouri, and Kentucky. Kentucky's governor has already declared a state of emergency, anticipating a 4-day weather event. In California, firefighters are working to contain a spreading fire that's forced evacuations of thousands of people near the Los Angeles area. Since it sparked Sunday, state officials say the fire, called the Silver Fire, has now spread over 1,500 acres and threatens hundreds of structures. The California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection says no injuries or deaths have been reported. And recovery efforts continue tonight in Southeast Asia, days after a 7.7 magnitude earthquake in Myanmar. At least 2,700 people have died after Friday's earthquake, with hundreds of others still missing. The United Nations says damaged roads and debris are slowing down recovery efforts, and the earthquake was so powerful it shook its neighboring country, Thailand, killing dozens and damaging the capital of Bangkok. Government officials are calling it the second deadliest earthquake in the country's history.
Thanks, Cole. Coming up, do you know how to help your furry friend during this storm season?
After the break, we'll take a look at tips and tricks to keep your pet safe during severe weather.
And Cole just mentioned the severe weather threat that we're currently tracking today, but what can we expect here in Norman over the next couple of days? Next. Welcome back to OU Nightly. Things are looking beautiful outside on our Weather Center cam. Mostly cloudy conditions with those beautiful warm conditions. Currently, we're sitting in 72 degrees, so very warm and absolutely beautiful out. But don't let this weather fool you because, like I said, we're going to expect to see our first round of severe weather tomorrow. Currently, Norman, we're in that marginal risk, but we are on the border of that slight risk. So there is a chance for that to change over the next couple of hours or so. And this is for Thursday morning into Thursday evening. So even though we're really going to be expecting to see those storms on our early Thursday. So currently for this afternoon, we're going to remain pretty clear, and then we'll start to see those storms fire up just around 10 p.m. this evening, and then they're going to push to our east and impact those of us here in Norman around 4 a.m. We can see this large bubble of storms right here on us with more of those severe storms to our south, but there is a chance for that to change over the next couple of hours, like I was saying, because these are just models, so they can always shift depending on weather over the next couple of hours or so. So luckily that first round of storms is going to push out of our area by Thursday around 8 a.m. However, we're going to see this line starts to form near the bottom portion of that storm system. So again, we're going to see those chance for severe weather again at 8 a.m. So this is kind of going to be a similar story to what we saw last night, those really early morning storm systems. So especially if you're going out to work or school, keep your alerts on your phone because if these do get warned, you want to be sure you are aware of that. And then they're going to push out during our Thursday. So Thursday, expect to see those spotty showers and cloudy conditions and a clear up. But again, another system comes in around 2 a.m. Friday morning. So we're going to be seeing these overnight consistent severe weather threats for the next couple of days or so. Luckily, that's going to push out and kind of linger a little bit throughout the day on Friday. We're going to see again spotty showers and mostly cloudy conditions, but then they'll finally push off to the northeast. And that's why we're seeing that risk for severe weather yet again. We're in that marginal risk, still on that border of slight and marginal for our Friday. And don't let that clear up in the afternoon fool you because again, there's going to be a chance for more showers. Luckily, it's not looking like these are going to be super severe on Friday into Saturday. However, as we pick up into Saturday evening, that's when we're really going to see those storms start to ramp up yet again. So it's a few days out. Be sure to stay mindful and prepared. But kind of the main takeaway from this, so those storms are going to clear out on Sunday. One thing I wanted to mention though, if you're planning on going to the medieval fair, I recommend going on Sunday and not Friday or Saturday because it's definitely going to be rainy. And same thing for the big event. Be sure to keep your alerts on in case there is that severe weather threat on Saturday. But this is the main takeaway I want to go through. So Thursday morning, we're primarily going to be impacted 2 a.m. to 12 p.m. with that marginal risk, but still a chance to be impacted during the afternoon. Friday morning, 12 a.m. to 7 a.m., we're also going to have that marginal risk. Again, that overnight into the early morning hours threat. And Saturday morning, that's when we're going to see again another overnight into the early afternoon threat. And kind of going into the rest of our week, we're going to see those chances for rain over the next couple of days or so. Sunday is when we're finally going to see that clear up and maybe get out to go and do something somewhere. And then Monday, Tuesday, we'll finally start to warm up back into those 70s, excuse me.
Well, I know that I'm going to just spend my entire Sunday, my entire weekend indoors.
Same. I don't even want to go out. I don't like the rain.
I know. I was looking forward to going to the medieval fair, but I might have to push it to Sunday.
Well, thanks, Alexa. Next, spring storms in Oklahoma can be unpredictable, and while we know how to take cover, what about our pets? I spoke to staff at the Norman Animal Welfare Center who gave me some simple steps to keep pets like my dog, Bronx, safe. Staff say the first thing pets need is a designated safe space during storms.
You want to make sure you have crates or carriers for all of your animals. If you are going to shelter in place, that your animals are all contained in one place so that you can know where they are in case of something happening.
Next, having an emergency kit ready is key. Staff say having a pet emergency kit is essential. Some of the items they say to include are a first aid kit, water and food for your dog, and for a comfort item, a blanket or their favorite toy. Not only is it important to have those kits ready, but also having identification ready for your animal. Staff say having your dog's ID tags, just like Bronx's here, and microchipped can be a lifesaver. Make sure all your pet's info is up to date so they can get home safely. Staff say what it really comes down to is keeping your four-legged friends safe.
You know, we are used to getting ready for storm season, and so we're just going to include our animals in that process. And if the worst were to happen, they're not running at large and they can be safe and found.
These steps now can save stress for later, because when those sirens go off, you want to stay focused on staying safe together. And now some former Sooners stars are coming back to their old stomping grounds.
Meanwhile, one Sooner tries to find a new home.
Yeah, and on the diamond, the Sooners played on a pro-level stage. Plus, who has decided to play the lottery? And which team is rivaling one of the best teams ever assembled? You aren't going to want to miss what's next in sports. Oklahoma freshman standout guard Jeremiah Fears has declared for the NBA draft. The true freshman, who should have been finishing his senior year of high school, is coming off averaging 17 points a game. He played his best basketball in March, ending the season on 3 consecutive 20-point scoring performances. Hello, I'm Oliver Schaefer, and it is time for sports. We are joined by OU Nightly reporter Aiden Tyler, who has some insight on the Thunder game tonight. Aiden?
Well, the Oklahoma City Thunder battle the Detroit Pistons tonight at 8:30 in the Paycom Center, and they've already clinched the Western Conference first seed, so it may not seem worth it to play all of the starters, but head coach Mark Dagnall says the team needs to stay hot as they storm toward the playoffs.
It's impressive internal motivation that the guys have. I think they feed off each other's energy, and it's important for us right now because every game you either get better or you get worse, and we certainly don't want to coast through the rest of the regular season. We'll have plenty of time to rest, when the season's over and during the play-in week. We got to continue to stay sharp and take advantage of every opportunity.
And the Thunder are 28-1 against Eastern Conference opponents this season. That is an NBA record. An even crazier note, they are tied with the best net rating in NBA regular season history with the 1995-96 Chicago Bulls. Reporting from the Paycom Center, a.k.a. Loud City, Aiden Tyler, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Aiden. Going miles and miles away, Oklahoma guard Duke Miles has entered the transfer portal. The High Point Transfers season high came in just the 12th game of the season, dropping 29 against Central Arkansas. In his lone year with the Sooners, the redshirt senior averaged 9.5 points, 2.5 rebounds, and 2 assists. Oklahoma baseball traveled to Frisco last night to take on Texas Tech. The Sooners struck first, as on the second pitch of the game, Jason Walk had a big fly to right field. OU won the game 8-6 with Frisco native Michael Catalano notching his second win on the campaign. The Sooners prepare to take on number 7 LSU in a nationally televised series this weekend. The softball Sooners were no fool yesterday after dropping the first series of the year to the Lady Volunteers. Gasso's girls bounced back, completing a series sweep of UT Arlington, which featured freshman Corey Hicks' first collegiate home run. And the Athletics United Softball League has announced games at Love's Field, which will bring back T.R.A. Jennings and Sydney Romero. The games will take place from June 20th to the 23rd. Emma, Sophia?
Thanks, Oliver. Coming up this weekend is one of Norman's most anticipated weekends of the year.
Find out where you can enjoy jousting, jewelry, and a jolly good time up next.
I'm Caroline Kramer with breaking news. Authorities say 2 deputies are hospitalized and a suspect is dead after a shooting in Logan County. Multiple law enforcement agencies responded around 3 this afternoon to a residence near Midwest Boulevard and Seward Road. The sheriff's office say that the injured deputies suffered non-life-threatening injuries. So far, no further details have been released. Sophia, Emma, back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Caroline. We'll continue to follow that story as updates develop here in the newsroom.
Now, Alexa has our last look at the weather.
We're currently tracking multiple rounds of severe weather over the next couple of days. However, we were just made aware that the marginal risk that we did have for tomorrow earlier in the show has now changed. There is currently no risk for us here in Norman, but again, there's always room for that to change. Friday and Saturday, we are also in that marginal risk, but we're looking, but things will clear up on our Sunday.
Thank you, Alexa. And get ready to step back in time. The annual Medieval Fair of Norman is happening this weekend at Reeves Park.
The fair has been a local tradition for decades where visitors can explore handmade goods, watch fight demonstrations, and experience a taste of medieval culture. Admission to the fair is free and runs from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily, starting on Friday and wrapping up Sunday evening.
And thank you for watching OU Nightly. I'm Sophia Cabrera.
And I'm Emma McAndrews. Be sure to watch OU Nightly live weekdays at 4:30. Good night.